Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today we are looking at the 1997 release by Playmates from their Star Trek The Next Generation 10th Anniversary series of action figures. And these were from the Warp Factor Series 1. And they're all based on characters from Star Trek The Next Generation, obviously, which was the second live-action Star Trek series in the franchise. It followed on from the original series, although in between that there was the animated series, and then Star Trek The Next Generation, which was produced between 1987 to 1994. And there were 7 seasons produced and 178 episodes in all, which ran for about 45 minutes per episode. And incidentally, a little bit of trivia for each budget. The budget for each episode was $1.3 million. Anyway, there we are. So these figures are all from the 10th anniversary series of the Star Trek Next Generation. And this is the action figure in front of us. And this particular one we're looking at today is of the Borg. And this is the card in front of us, and it says Serialized Warp Factor Series 1 Star Trek Spring Activated Action Figures. And it's the Borg with Galactic gear. It's got Spring Firing Borg Arm. And the Galactic gear is Firing Cybernetic Arm, Cybernetic Arm Projectile, Surgical Tool, Borg Scanner, and Borg Display Base, or Display Stand. And it's stock number 16254. And on the right-hand side, it says Spring Activated Action Figures, Star Trek The Next Generation 10th Anniversary, ages 4 and up, assortment number 16250, Playmates logo, and warning choking hazard, small parts, not suitable for children under 3 years. Okay, that is the back of the card. Let's just turn the card round to the front, and let's have a look, or round to the front, I should say. This is the front of the card. Let's turn the card round to the back, and let's have a look at what's printed on the back. So I've turned the figure around to the back, and this is the back of the card. And again, it says Star Trek Borg Spring Firing Borg Arm. Fire the spring-loaded Borg Cybernetic Arm. It says fire by pressing Cyber Activation button. Slide the tab back and forth to activate the mechanical claw. Boldly go where no one has gone before. Collect the entire Playmates Star Trek Combat Action Figures assortment. Now, Bandai were the importers of these figures, and they've stuck their sticker on the back of the packet here, so we can't quite see what is underneath these other 2 figures. But you can just see you've got Worf and Riker in the same series. And so this is the Borg figure. And it says spring activated action figure, includes real spring firing defense weapons. And you've got the surgical tool, you've got the firing cybernetic arm, the cybernetic arm projectile, the Borg scanner, and the Borg display stand. And at the bottom you've got ages 4 and up, assortment number 16250, and it's stock number 16254. You've got the Playmates logo, you've got the Paramount Pictures logo. It says visit the Playmates World Wide Web, www.playmatetoys.com, and join the official Star Trek fan club, 1-800-TRUE-FAN. And it's got library computer and retrieval systems, LCARS, USS Enterprise, NCC 1701E, Borg Collective. The Borg are a collective of cybernetically enhanced humanoids linked into a group consciousness. Implanting of cybernetic devices begins shortly after birth and continues throughout the Borg's lifespan. They exist solely to assimilate the technology and raw materials of other species. From their perspective, assimilation of other life forms improves those species. Each Borg is linked into a sophisticated subspace communications network in which the idea of the individual is a meaningless concept. The Borg hive culture is ruled by a queen who exists beyond humanoid notions of 3-dimensional space. The Borg originated somewhere in the Delta Quadrant. Their first attack against the Federation was in 2366 and were stopped just short of conquering Earth by the Enterprise D. A second attack in 2373 was foiled by Captain Jean-Luc Picard and the Enterprise E crew. Okay, so that is the back of the card. Let's turn the card back around to the front now, and let's have a look at the figure itself. Okay, so I've zoomed right in onto the figure there, and there you can see the detailing of the Borg's face is absolutely outstanding. It is really very, very good. Just turn him to the side, you can see all the detailing around the back, all the cybernetic implants, his eye, the tubes coming down from his brain into his chest unit. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. Sculpture is amazing, and his eye is red, which looks incredible. And even when you go down on his body, I mean, the detailing on all of his body and the cybernetic implants is just absolutely awesome. You can see the button just on the arm there. You press the button and that activates the claw. And you've got the firing button, which is this button here on the gun, and that shoots out these. You get 2 projectiles with it, and that shoots those out when you press the button. All the way down, we can't quite see his feet from that angle, but if I turn the card to the side and zoom down, you can just about see his feet in the background there. And behind the figure, you can just see the Borg stand at the back there, and there's a little Star Trek Playmates booklet at the back there, and you've also got the Borg scanner and the surgical tool, and obviously the display stand, which is there. But an absolutely awesome figure, and if we look closely, you can see where all the articulation is. So the neck will turn left to right, the tops of the shoulders will move up and down, and you can see the markings on the arm, so the arm turns, and you've got the elbow joint there, which also moves. And on this particular one, you've got the claw, the button which operates the claw. And on this particular arm, same thing again. There's no elbow on this one though, but it does turn, and then you've got the button that operates the firing projectile. The waist movement is there. The tops of the legs will move from circular motion. The knee joints will move, as you can see. I don't know if the feet move. I don't think they do. I'm just trying to look around the back to see if I can see any movement on the feet, and I don't believe that there is. So I don't think the feet will actually move, but still great articulation. Now, these figures were bigger than the standard Star Trek ones. If I bring out my faithful Ben Sisko and I place him up against the Borg, there you go, that's him level with the Borg's feet. You can see the size different. So my Ben Sisko is 4 inches, the Borg is 6 inches. So if we look, we are looking at 6 inches, we are looking at 15 centimeters tall. Width wise, well, we're going to say about 8 centimeters because of the tubing on his arm, and depth wise we are looking at about 3 centimeters. So that is the size difference between the earlier Playmates models, which were only 12 centimeters by 5.5 by 2 centimeters. So that is the difference in size. And these figures obviously came with a lot of working features. This whole range did, as it was specifically released for the 10th anniversary of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So, how well did these figures do back in 1997? Well, I'm not 100% sure that they did do as well as was expected of them. And quite simply for that was because there was an awful lot of figures being released at the time. There was wave and wave and wave of different Star Trek figures coming out from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Also the original series and Voyager and Deep Space Nine. There was figures everywhere. And the popular figures were the 4-inch figures, just like my Ben Sisko. And they also did a range of 7-inch figures, which are the Space Talk ones, although there was only 4 in that series. But then to come out with 6-inch figures, which again were another size, I think people just thought, no, that's too much now. So the sales on these particular figures were nowhere near as good as the the 4-inch figures. And 97, even though Star Trek was still huge and these figures were still quite popular, they just weren't as popular as the 4-inch figures. But Star Trek was still a very, very big franchise. We'd had the original series, we'd had all the original movies, we'd had Star Trek The Next Generation that had come and gone, we had Star Trek Voyager that was airing at the time, Deep Space Nine was still on air, and then after that came Star Trek Enterprise. So it was, at the time, it was still the biggest franchise in the world. So the merchandise, you know, even though these figures are so, I don't want to play this down too much, these figures were very popular, but not as popular as the 4-inch figures. So now let's move forward to 2024. So we're moving forward 27 years. Do these figures come up often on the platforms nowadays? And the answer to that is, well, they do pop up from time to time, but not very often in comparisons to the 4-inch figures. And let's say, again, I put that down to the fact that, well, these were later in the releasing of the action figures before the line finished. And also, they were different size and the quantities were less that were produced. So they don't come up as often as one would think they would, which is a shame, really, to say, because I think these figures are probably the best ones that Playmates produced. With the articulation, the detailing, and the extra gadgets and the working gadgets, I think these figures were the best that they've done as far from the Star Trek franchise. But then again, that's my opinion. So, yeah, you do see them from time to time on the platforms, not very often, and you usually find it's again, in these figures, you would get more of the popular characters than you would of the others, so there was more of certain ones. So the ones that had the higher quantities are usually the ones that do pop up rather than the ones that had the lower amounts in the cases. However, of course, we at Midas Touch have managed to find a good quantity of these figures, and we pretty much have every single one available on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek items, and many other vintage toys, games, and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long-lost childhood memories. Well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful Borg Action figure with me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next video. So bye for now.